Holy murder. People are killing people.
No, what race is killing? Is it white people killing blacks or blacks killing blacks?
People are killing people, Charlie.
Okay, but hold on. What race is killing the other race?
What race is killing what race more? That does not matter.
It does matter because it's a black-on-black problem.
It's a
and blacks need to solve the problem of black-on-black violence.
Is it a black-on-black problem or is it a crime problem?
It's a black-on-black problem that is a crime problem. Because I'll tell you why. If it was a bunch of kids from Deerfield coming in with guns, it would be a white problem.
But somehow... Wasn't that possible? Big shout out to SPI, Spotter Low. You know, I'm in the black box. Had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned. All that.
We come from conditions where the master used to make you abort your babies or kill them post-birth or sell them or do worse, feed them to gators and things of that nature. And you would still be put in a position to breastfeed their child. And that's all I can reflect on when I hear so many people that look like me just ignore what we just heard Charlie Kirk say in the intro and the things that he said of that nature over and over again and act as if we should have some other disposition in the midst of all this other than we do. It just blows my mind, but I'm glad that I became familiar with Nellie Fuller Jr. shortly before this took place, because in reflection upon Kanye saying what he said about slavery seemingly being a choice, he said no one has the right to question someone who's been affected by the trauma of slavery about anything they said about it. So even my people who don't see it my way, I ain't mad at them. Y'all have the right. Y'all are here in America where you've been brainwashed to be compassionate to your oppressor. It's the Stockholm Syndrome. For those who may not be familiar with the term Stockholm Syndrome, let's just get a official definition of what Stockholm Syndrome is. I know the average person may know, but somebody may not be familiar. Stockholm Syndrome is a proposed condition or theory that tries to explain why hostages sometimes develop a psychological bond with their captors. It's named after a 1973 incident where it was in Stockholm, Sweden, and this person was abducted, and eventually they became very affectionate toward the abductor. And we as a people, as a community, have a collective case of Stockholm Syndrome. And just because you may not be personally affected by it as much as the masses, I don't feel like it does us any good to get indignant toward our people who are suffering from it. We love them throughout it, and we just try to address issues from a more focused vantage point and hope that our perspective can catch on. And I know it seems like we're getting hella political in the black box. I don't know if this is a wave or if this is an indication of where we're headed in the future, but this is what we own now. So with no further ado, you see the title. Let's see what MAGA and the Civil War fantasizing cells have been up to.
Hey there, folks. Hope you're doing well today. Today, we're going to be looking at a channel called Patriot Nurse. And I know what you're all thinking. You're like, wait, is she the one who is in the wedding dress with the assault rifle on her YouTube banner? And the answer to that question is yes. And so real quick,
if I would have had to just heard that much, she definitely would have had a rifle on the thumbnail. But I just mimicked the thumbnail that was already available.
We're on the topic of assault rifles. Gun violence should be prevented in America. In fact, we should have stricter gun laws. What happened to Charlie Kirk was a travesty, and we should be creating stricter gun regulation to prevent things like that from happening. With that being said, the topic of today's video is actually about the radicalization of MAGA. MAGA is really creating this narrative, putting all of the onus and blame on the left, making claims like it's only people on the left who commit violence. However, we only have to look back to June of 2025, where we saw the Speaker of the House, a Democrat, Melissa Horton, and her husband, who were shot and killed. Also, on that same morning, Senator John Huffman and his wife, not to mention Paul Pelosi.
Why weren't they flown on Air Force One or Two to their resting location? They didn't get no tick.
Someone who wasn't even an elected official. How many MAGA mocked and made fun of them? And that doesn't make it okay. I'm simply just pointing out the hypocrisy. Not to mention the assassination attempts on Donald Trump were by registered Republicans, so stop putting all of this on the left. Nonetheless, let's take a look at some of the claims that Patriot Nurse makes in her video titled, "There's No Going Back Now."
But yesterday, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And a man who did not need to die, who was a private citizen, not an elected official, who was murdered for his ideas and for engaging in public discourse, trying to do the peaceful thing.
We reacted to her before. I think this the lady that was talking about, hey, yeah, you little gangsters talking about you want a race war. You're not ready. Remember I told y'all, don't get in your feelings. Pay attention to what she's saying. And then when you see what they just did to old Charlie, man, how tough you is, how hard you sound on your drill record, go look in the mirror all by yourself. Look at your switch with your beam on it, your long-ass clip, and ask yourself, are you ready? Oh, my mama.
With winning hearts and minds, trying to not stoop to their level, trying to rise above everything and do things the right way, the Christian way, the biblical way, he was assassinated and murdered.
And I agree with her. He should have the right to go out and speak his mind without the fear of danger. Ideas should be challenged with other ideas, not violence.
And it seems from everything that we are learning right now, he was assassinated by a transgender, Trantifa, fascist, anti-fascist. It's funny because they become the exact thing that they claim.
That's crazy. They put all that out there and they're reacting to it in real time like those are actual factuals and turned out to be bullshit.
To war against.
Okay, and so this is another narrative that they're starting to push on the right too. This originated from Steven Crowder, who said he knew someone in the ATF and that there were symbols found on the gun that led them to believe that. But here are pictures that were recently released of the shooter, and I'll let you decide if they're trans or not. In reality, what they're just trying to do is look for ways to scapegoat the left, to put blame on the left, while also continuing to bash an oppressed group. There's some data out there. This is from Axios. If we looked at data from 2015 to 2023, there were around 1,400 incidents at kindergarten through 12th grade school where either guns were fired, brandished, or bullets hitting school property. Out of all of those incidents, only one of the shooters was transgendered. So to either blame the left on violence or blame transgender on violence, you're cherry-picking and trying to blame a whole side.
He was murdered by one of these raging leftists. And we're at a turning point. We're at an inflection point. I don't believe that there is a comeback from this. I think that this was the first shot fired in the Civil War.
Okay.
All that you was talking, if that's the case, why you ain't fired the second shot? You just a talker. You ain't a walker.
So keep in mind how much projection MAGA does. So when she talks about the raging leftists, in reality, we are seeing the raging MAGA in real time. She goes on to say, I think this is the first shot fired in the Civil War. And I think this is where things kind of fall apart. The previous Civil War, you could distinguish between the two sides. Some people wore blue suits, other people wore gray suits. Not to mention you had the division of land of the North and the South. Battle lines were clearly drawn, and you were able to distinguish between the two sides. Where is the Civil War of today going to be fought? And how do you distinguish between the two sides? I mean,
that's a damn good question, because I saw a white Christian Republican kill a white Christian Republican, And now I see HBCUs threatened. I see white Democrats being blamed. This is crazy.
What happens to people like, I don't know, the Cartier family or Ben Carson's if you're simply distinguishing based on skin color?
That we have long been expecting. And I think we're at a very perilous point in our nation's history. Because as many of you know, the average shelf life roughly of a republic such as ours is 250 years. It's been under assault since really its inception, but it started decaying in the 1860s.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Is she talking about like the Salem witch trials? She wishes that we could still throw women in the river and see if they float. We are going back there quicker than she imagines.
The internet is a muff because anybody can get on here and say anything at any time from anywhere to anybody. And everybody can potentially be listening.
World War I, etc., it further began to unravel. When JFK was assassinated, Martin Luther King was assassinated in the 60s, it further started to derail. Meanwhile, it was being infiltrated by communist elements. And then, of course, we started importing people into this nation who despise our republic, who don't want anything to do with Constitution.
Wait a minute. That's how you built this nation, by forcibly importing people. And plenty of them still wanted to be a patriot and be a part of it and wasn't accepted until it was long overdue. And that was only being done like intolerance. Come on, woman.
Ideals and who want to turn it into an Islamic caliphate. So we have done everything to pull apart the foundation with our own hands.
So a couple of different ideas there. Not only did she show xenophobia, being very anti-immigrant, but she's also showing sectarian radicalization. So what is sectarianism? It's a strong loyalty to one's religious sect or denomination, often with prejudice or discrimination against others. And so this is how religious fundamentalism works. And it evolves into radical extremist religious fundamentalism. Now, when you combine this with what the Trump administration is doing, they recently launched an initiative called America Prays, which encourages people to meet weekly in groups of 10 to pray for the country ahead of the 250th anniversary.
Let me tell y'all something. Being raised as a Seventh-day Adventist and taught prophecy from the Spirit of Prophecy and Ellen G. White and things of that nature, and going to Revelation seminars, I've been taught, I'll be 50 in January, so I've been taught for 40-something years, and this is doctrine that was taught long before I was born, that there was going to be a time in America where things was going to get so bad on the face of the earth that in this country that kicked prayer out of the school, it was going to be that separated church and state, that it was going to be legally mandated that we all turn back to God. They said that the head of the countries, of the state of America, is going to say, I believe this is supposed to take place over the whole world, but in America particular for sure, they're going to say, look at all this calamity. Why is everything going wrong? Maybe God is upset with this, and that they were going to declare through law that everyone had to spend some time dedicated to worship. And we were told that Sunday was going to be mandated as the national day of worship, and we as Sabbath keepers were going to be prosecuted because once everyone from a legal standpoint decides to turn back to God and at least participate in some type of church process or be in some type of setting, and look how well they're documenting where you are these days through your phone. Back then it sounded crazy, but now I can easily see them saying where you have or have not been throughout a week period or whatever. We've been taught and told that Sunday will be the day selected. And because we honor the Bible's Sabbath, the seventh day, and because once the whole country turns back to worshiping on Sunday to try to get all the turmoil to cease, and it doesn't cease, I've been taught and told that then they're going to look at us Like, wait a minute. We've done everything now. We turn back to God. We worship every Sunday. Why are we still cursed? It must be those people who ain't worshiping on Sundays with us. And then I was told that me and my people would be jailed and persecuted. Not prosecuted, but prosecuted as well. But persecuted for our decision to stand firm and keep the Sabbath. So to hear them even speak of things of this nature is crazy. And it's already a few years ago, I heard of a story of a church, a Catholic church, that where they made it where you get taxed if you don't come to mass in that town at least once a week. I know this sounds like far-fetched, but it's crazy to see prophecies being fulfilled.
And guess what? They supply the prayers. All the prayers have more of a nationalistic emphasis on this. And that is how fascism is born.
And so what we are facing now is the reality and the realization that we have allowed these people, by exercising their freedom of speech, to advocate for the slaughter and wholesale murder of conservatives. And they've done it. They've got a W now.
Mind you, she's saying this when a conservative killed a conservative. And she's still projecting outward responsibility, anger. Wow. Charlie said black on black is black people problem. Conservative on conservative should be conservative people's problems. I mean, you guys really don't respect Charlie's logic very much.
Next, their scoreboard. They tried to kill President Trump twice, and I have not been a fan of President Trump in many ways.
And so right there we see it. Her making the claim that the previous attempts on Donald Trump were people on the left. Thomas Matthew Crooks shot at Trump in a 2024 rally in Pennsylvania. Crooks was a registered Republican, so she cannot put this on the left when there's so much evidence that demonstrates there were actually people on the right. And this is going to be the biggest problem. You can publish a 600-page report with Venmo receipts and they'll still think Matt Gaetz isn't guilty. Or even provide handwritten love letters from Donald Trump to Jeffrey Epstein, and they'll look the other way. They consistently choose to ignore reality.
It is no longer enough to disagree with someone, but to advocate for the murder of conservatives. And the thing is, for all the protestations of the left worrying about Project 2025 and white and Christian nationalism, all this nonsense, these boogeymans that they have constructed, they're the ones actually murdering people.
And here again, we see her continuing this narrative that is completely false. It wasn't that long ago. It was only on June 14th of 2025 that Melissa Fortman, the former Speaker of the Minnesota House, a Democrat, and her husband were shot and killed. Also targeted that same morning was Senator John Hoffman and his wife, Yvette. The suspect was Lance Luther Bolter.
That didn't get no tick, no time, no talk. That's crazy.
Known to be a political conservative, religious, anti-abortion, and had voted for Trump in past elections. Not to mention Paul Pelosi, just as she's saying, someone who wasn't even a representative, an elected official. He was attacked in his home. This is it. This is what the right is all about, cherry-picking and ignoring reality.
Effectively, our nation has devolved to the point where you can't exercise your freedom of speech.
The nation was founded where Emmett Till couldn't even whistle or maybe say hello to a chick that looked like you. So, I mean, forgive us for not being at awe. These people are slow-tarded.
Unless you are a tranny Democrat, Muslim-worshipping deviant, they are permitted to freely exercise their freedom of speech. But if you are a constitutional conservative, if you are a God-fearing person, if you are a Bible believer, you, like Rand Paul, get assaulted and nearly kicked to death, beat to death, with numerous internal injuries by neighbors.
Liz, what happened to Charlie Kirk?
Did y'all see the black boy they tried to throw in the meat grinder recently? This woman didn't have nothing to say about that. If you're speaking on social issues that come across this internet, I know you saw that little black boy that your folks tried to put in that grinder and beat up and called him all kind of N-words for absolutely nothing except being a certain skin tone.
It's a travesty. It shouldn't have happened. We should have stronger regulations for guns in place. But this narrative of cherry picking and forgetting what just happened in June, what this is just an excuse for MAGA to push for the civil war they always wanted.
Yesterday was bullshit, but today gonna be a good day. Louisiana 3P, yeah, the 3P. I'm talking about the hood way, like when the Lakers got the 3P, got the 3P. I have to say it was a good day. Hey now, say now, I woke up feeling like it was my birthday. Checks coming in like the first day. I said checks coming in like the first day. Niggas tryna knock me off my pivot, I get ignorant, live it. Give it to you in the worst way, I give it how I live it. Let the church say amen. I was trying to chase a little 2K. I was trying to chase a little 2 bands more than pineapple juice. Hold the deuce, I'm zeroed in. Shoot the beak off a bird. Toucan Sam, do you know who I am? It's Noonie. They make business, you goofy. See this big old ring, if I mink me, you get loopy. Crashing shit, I think I'm Boosie. Debo, but this ain't no movie. This ain't 2B, this ain't no movie. Yesterday was bullshit, but today gonna be a good day. Louisiana 3Ps, yeah, the 3Ps. I'm talking about the hood way, like when the Lakers got the 3P, got the 3P. Have to say it was a good day. Hey now, say now, I woke up feeling like it was my birthday. Checks coming in like the first day. I said checks coming in like the first day. Really though, I read the back of my cereal box. I still keep a dub in my sock. But he mad, you lucky I'm not. I'm about to blow, I'm about to pop. Shout out to the low, he passed me the rock. Hopped off the pole, threw it in sport, ooh wee. Pocket stuff like a loose leaf. Pick around, we ain't talking about sushi. It's Noonie and the green is for blue cheese. It's Noonie and the green is for blue cheese. I'm about to blow, I'm about to pop. Shout out to the low, he passed me the rock. I'm about to blow, I'm about to pop. Shout out to the low, he passed me the rock.
You and the people around you seem to be like always in danger. You know, you could be killed as you walked out of here, because this happened to a lot of people in the Black Panthers and all the black movements. And like, can you be sure that your movement, are you strong enough now, you know, that are you going to go on? Is the Black Panthers, if you are killed?
We're not worried about them killing anybody. And you know how the story goes, that, you know, they had a chance. Wiping out power is what's got them in the mess they're in now. Wiping out power is that's what's got the Black Panther Party on their asses, you know, because they wiped out so much power. So I think they're about tired of wiping out power. They wiped out Martin Luther King and they wiped out Malcolm X, you know what I mean?
No, I don't worry. I tell you, I'm a man who believed that I died 20 years ago. And I live like a man who is dead already. I have no fear whatsoever of anybody or anything.
Wasn't that personal? Big shout out to SPI, Spotter Low. You know, I'm in the black box, had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned, all that.